everybody. Welcome back to another episode of BAM GPG. And this Saturday, we've got a big one coming up as the Green Bay Packers take on the Chicago Bears in a division matchup which will probably decide who wins the division.
I absolutely 100% agree with that statement.
And let's be honest, right off the top, the vibes this week are complicated.
Yes.
Green Bay is coming off an emotional stretch, and the biggest headline, of course, is the loss of Micah Parsons for the season. Losing a player like that changes things. There's no sugarcoating it, but the season doesn't stop, and the Bears sure are not going to feel sorry for us.
Nope.
So tonight, we're breaking down how the Packers beat the Bears, what changes without Parsons, key matchups to watch, and why, yes, Packers fans should still believe.
Have to believe still, right? You have to believe, Packer fans. This team is still loaded. We're locked and ready to go. The division's still right in front of us here. Yeah. But, Bryson, before we get into the X's and O's of this weekend's matchup, let's hit a quick injury update for the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, Micah Parsons, he's done. He's out for the year for the Green Bay Packers. Massive blow for the pass rush, and it's a massive blow to the Green Bay Packers defensive identity, right? Beyond that, Green Bay is still monitoring some bumps and bruises, which is typical for this time of the year. Every player's body is going to be a little bit beat up, right? So nothing unexpected this time of the year. And there were some players that were limited today. Others, were full participant, but we'll keep you updated as the week goes on with the injuries. The key takeaway here right now, this team, they're banged up. We've been banged up for a while, but it seems like all season really, but we're not broken yet, right? And there's no reason to believe that they won't find their core guys won't be ready to go Saturday for a big division showdown against Chicago Bears. And some positive news here today, Bryson. Christian Watson, he was back on the practice field today for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room first, right? Bryson, life without Micah Parsons, right? You don't replace a player like that with one guy. You have to replace him with scheme, rotation, and really discipline on the defensive front. Without Parsons, Green Bay can't rely on one player to wreck a game, right? It's just not going to happen. So what's that mean for the Packers? It means you're going to have to come up with more pressure by committee, right? Smarter blitz packages for the Green Bay Packers, better run fits, and a tighter coverage on the back end, right? With your D-backs, your safeties, to buy some time for that pass rush to get home to the quarterback. Now, we know the Bears, they're obviously going to test this early in this game. They're going to run right at Green Bay's defensive front early and see if they can seal that edge, see if that edge holds up for us with Micah Parsons out. So this, as you mentioned, Bryson, it's still a massive, massive matchup, even without Micah Parsons in the lineup. Rashan Gary, he's kind of been hidden under Micah Parsons here since he's arrived in Green Bay. Really hasn't done much since that Pittsburgh game where he got a 6th and 7th sack, 6-7, right? But Rashan Gary, he becomes the focal point of that defensive front, right? He's the highest paid guy. He's the guy who's been there for a few years. He's got a lot of potential. He has to set the tone early in this game against the Bears. Yeah. Lukas Ness, he has to continue to take that next step, collapsing the pocket, winning on those early downs and forcing Chicago into some very obvious passing situations.
Well, and it's only offseason. Lukas Ness was improving by a lot.
He was. Yeah, I'm super excited to see what he can do. Obviously, sad, disappointed Micah Parsons is out, but I'm also excited on that same note to see what Lukas Van Ness can do in his 3rd year, right? And if Green Bay, if they can get pressure on Chicago without selling out, right, this completely changes what the Bears want to do offensively against this defense. And on the other side of the ball, this is a game that Jordan Love can control, right? The Bears secondary, we saw it in that matchup here about a week and a half ago. They're vulnerable. They can be vulnerable, right? Especially when forced to cover for extended plays, right? That means, play action for the Packers, quick timing routes. You're going to have to get Matthew Golden more involved in those and taking calculated deep shots down the field when the defense starts to creep up a little bit. If you get Josh Jacobs going. Now, Love, he doesn't have to be Superman by himself, right? He just needs to be decisive this game. If Green Bay protects him, I truly believe that this matchup favors the Green Bay Packers. Now, Josh Jacobs, he's going to be the other key matchup in this game, guys. This is a Josh Jacobs type of game, right? Cold weather, physical opponent, division matchup, really the biggest rivalry in the NFL, in my opinion. But Green Bay, they have to really lean on Josh Jacobs early and often this game, not just for the yards, right? But to dictate the tempo of this game. You want to keep the offense on the field. You want to keep Chicago's offense off of the field as much as possible. If Josh Jacobs, if he's able to consistently, fall forward, chewing up some clock, it opens up everything else for this Green Bay Packers offense.
Maybe you'll even make a touchdown for Moss again.
Yeah, I would love that. Kind of Moss. You did have a Moss the other weekend, Denver for sure. So the other key I kind of highlighted here, Bryson, is Micah Parsons is out. So who's gonna have to step up? We know Rashan Gary, Lukas Van Ness, but also that linebacker core, right? Without Parsons, linebacker play becomes even more crucial for the Green Bay Packers. You're gonna have to look for Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker to really, they're going to have to be fast, right? They're going to have to play disciplined and physical football moving forward into the playoffs here. The Bears, they're going to test the edge on the Green Bay Packers and try to create hesitation with some of that misdirection, right? And if Green Bay linebackers can stay focused, play downhill, and tackle cleanly, they can really shut down Chicago's rhythm before it ever gets going this weekend. So here's something. Packer fans, I understand. Losing a star like Micah Parsons, it hurts, especially an edge rusher of his caliber, right? But this is where, I want to hit the brakes a little bit and stop the panic button here just for a second, because this roster of the Green Bay Packers, it's still loaded, right? Let's not forget who's wearing the green and gold. This defense was the top 5 defense last season prior to acquiring Micah Parsons. You still have Jordan Love at quarterback. He's already shown that he can win the games, right? Make throws into tight windows and lead this team when it matters most. You've got Josh Jacobs, a physical downhill tone setting runner for the Green Bay Packers. He can control games in December, January football, right? We've got weapons on the outside, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, and we haven't even tapped into what Matthew Golden has in his arsenal, right? So this young receiving core, it keeps stepping up when their number is called, right? And defensively, this team, it still has teeth, right? Rashan Gary, he can be a game wrecker. We've seen it in the past. He just needs to get back to that, step up, and be that focal point on that defensive front again. Lukas Van Ness, he continues to grow, showing flashes of that power speed combo that he has. And Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker, they give you athleticism at running back and linebacker, in that range at linebacker, right? And on the back end, you still have Xavier McKinney. You got Evan Williams. Bullard's been playing a lot better this year. I really like to play a cornerback from Valentine this year as well. They're playing like some of the best backs in football. Credit some of that to Micah Parsons, but they've really stepped up this year, right? This Green Bay Packer team, they're not hanging on by a thread, right? This is a team that still has a lot of stars on both sides of the football. They have depth, leadership, and really belief in that building still, right? And if there's one thing that history tells us with the Green Bay Packers, it's that the Packers, they don't need everything to be perfect to make a Super Bowl run. You can cite the 2010 season for that one as well. We had a plethora of players on the injury reserve leading up to that Super Bowl run. So I urge you, don't lose faith. This team's still very, very talented, still a plethora of stars, both sides of the ball. We're ready to make a run. I can guarantee you we're not going into Chicago Saturday night and laying down. So yes, losing Micah Parsons, it hurts, right? But Saturday, it's going to be about the response. Can Green Bay play physical? Can they execute clean football? And can they win when the moments matter, right? If they do, I think they beat the Chicago Bears handily and remind the league that the Packers are still a very, very good team in this league and a serious threat at making a Super Bowl run. So let us know in the comments. Drop your score predictions for this game. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And Bryson, as always,
It's go Pack Go.